guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and it is perfect timing for us to be going live because if you didn't notice, Bitcoin just dropped for the first time in a while below $40,000 down to a local low of $39,800. And in this stream, we're going to be talking about whether right now is the bottom, or if we're going to keep going bearish, is the bottom in for Bitcoin, and should you be buying Bitcoin? That all was very alliterative, wasn't it? We're also going to be talking about whether or not you ought to ape into altcoins and whether or not you should be getting into Luna, Polkadot, Cardano. We're going to be looking at VeChain, and we're going to be looking at a couple of others. I just bought some Cardano. Tim has purchased some crypto. Should we be buying the dip right now, or is a bear market coming? That is the question on the table today. We got a great show lined up for you today, guys, and we have a lot of reason to believe that if the bottom's not in, it is very, very close, and we're going to be breaking down all of that and more. If you want to know what's going on in crypto right now and where we're heading, then you found the right show. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that post notification bell so you don't miss a single upload. I am joined, as always, by my illustrious co-host, T.A. Tim. How you doing, Tim?
Doing good. You know, one thing that's always bullish is the growth of this channel.
Heck
We've
yeah,
never
man.
had anything less than a 0.2% loss. So if you're looking to make returns, subscribe, because it's nothing but up.
That's a good point. This is a great investment. Subscribe and hit that like button, and you'll get a cookie before the day's over. I just have a feeling someone will give you a cookie. We're also joined, as always, by Smay, our technical director and producer. How are you doing, Smay?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing fantastic. And I'm gonna take this opportunity to say how much I love the members. I love you guys so much. And I would like to shout out a brand new Jebbi Knight Crypto Sec guy.
Woohoo!
Love that guy. Bitcoinologist and Tom Wilkes. You guys are the best. You guys single-handedly, or I guess together, help support this stream, and it's amazing what you guys are willing to do and being so generous. We love you guys.
You guys are absolutely incredible, and thank you to everyone who is tuning in right now. Let's see if we can't get to 1,000 likes here in the first 5 minutes or so, but this was the plan all along when we rebuilt the set about a month ago, was to have a table of two tailors, and we finally do. Shout out to both of our tailors. Taylor, how are you doing? I'm gonna let you guys figure out which one.
I guess ladies first for now. I'm doing great. Super glad to be here. Super glad to see all the wonderful members, subscribers. If you're not subscribed, click that subscribe button. And also just super excited for our newest member, Crypto Sarah. She became a Jebbi youngling, so congrats to you, Crypto Sarah.
We love Sarah. She's doing good. Thank you so much to all of our members. We love all of our members. Taylor, tell us a little bit about what you do at the company and what you're doing here and why everybody should think that you are awesome.
So I'm a customer service supervisor. I basically am for the people all the time. So whenever you're like logging in and trying to email Crypto Jebb support, you are talking to me. And I try as hard as I can to make all your wishes come true. So that is basically what I'm doing here at the Crypto Jebb company. And yeah, I mean, that's about it.
Heck yeah, Tay. Well, thank you so much. Well, T-Shroom, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. You may be surprised to know that my legal name is not T. Shroom. It is actually Taylor, and that's why we have our table of two Taylors here. Yep. But I'm doing well. I am without beard, and I'm also without caffeine.
You're also without Kelly.
And I'm also without Kelly.
Yeah, you're without a lot today, man. I'm sorry.
I'm at a loss.
Are you okay? Like, do we need to like pray for you, man?
I definitely. The answer to that question is definitely, and we can do that a little later on in the stream.
Well, good deal, man. Well, let's go ahead and jump straight on to our altcoin review over on CoinMarketCap, because as you guys know, the whole market's dropping, and I know some people are getting kind of freaked out, kind of wondering, hey, should I sell my bag? Should I maybe go try this real estate thing or this gold thing? We're going to talk about all of that. Is now the time that you should be getting out of crypto, or is now the exact time that you ought to be considering getting in? Right now, Bitcoin is trading right around $40,000 as we speak. On CoinMarketCap, it registered right below 40K. Over on my chart here on Coinbase, we are trading at $39,796, and it's down 4% on the day. Ethereum just dropped down into the 2,000s for the first time in a long time. Binance coin's down 5%, sitting at $400. It wasn't that long ago that it was at 500. Solana's down at 131. Wasn't that long ago that it was at 170. Cardano was at 135 not too long ago. ago, down at 109. I actually just bought a lot of Cardano with an average entry, with an entry on the purchase I just made at $1.11. And I said to myself, hey, look, if Cardano goes down to $1, maybe 99 cents, maybe $1.01, I'm going to buy even more. So I'm loading up on Cardano because I think it's going to have a phenomenal 2020. XRP is down to 70 cents. Terra Luna is down to $65, guys. Oh my goodness. You're looking for an entry on Terra Luna or Polkadot. We're going to talk about both of those here in about 2 minutes, but they're looking very good right now. Avalanche down at $80. Avalanche was at 100 not too long ago. Guys, there are some juicy discounts out there, and the reason that I'm talking about it this way is because almost every single other person that you watch today is going to be maybe freaking out a little bit. A lot of the people in the community are going to be freaking out a little bit, thinking, oh my goodness, guys, the market's crashing, time to go, we're going to sell, a bear market's coming. You're going to hear a lot of FUD today, and I'm not here to tell you that it's all sunshine and rainbows. Obviously, there's bearishness going on, but I do firmly believe, and myself and Tim do believe this by our actions, because both of us just bought the dip. We believe that the bottom, if it's not in, is close, and we're going to be telling you why in today's show. But let's go ahead and look at the biggest gainers and losers. Biggest gainers in Near Protocol. Near Protocol almost always seems to be in the top. Whenever I see that happening, whether it's in the biggest gainer or the biggest loser, whenever I see that happening, I see an altcoin with a lot of volatility. So Near Protocol is one that you might want to be looking at trading potentially if it has strong fundamentals, because it seems to be very volatile. Zcash is one that I did not think I would ever say the name of again. Zcash has not really been in the zeitgeist for very long. It's up 1.84%. It's one of the original privacy coins. It and Monero were two of the big ones back in the day. Haven't seen a whole lot out of the project recently, but I could be missing something there. And then some of the biggest losers, we got Gnosis, another project that I haven't seen in a long time. Harmony One, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. Yearn Finance, Raven Coin, and Bora all down. CRV Curve DAO token down 11%. This is a project that I haven't looked into too much, but this does have the most total value locked of any of the layer 2 protocols built on Ethereum, I believe it is. So this is a project that you might want to look into. Seems to have some pretty strong fundamentals. I can't say that I'm the most well-versed on it, though, but it is one that might be worth your attention. But let's go ahead and jump on over to the chart, and let's take a look at Luna and some of the other projects here, such as DOT and Cardano, because I know that you guys are either, one, freaking out and wondering if you should sell, or two, and this is what I think you should be doing, wondering, is now a time to buy my favorite crypto because everything is on discount? Well, Terra Luna, let's get some perspective here. Luna is a cryptocurrency that does something called algorithmic stablecoins. Stablecoins obviously are a cryptocurrency that are pegged to the value of a nominal currency, such as the US dollar or the euro or the pound sterling. Stablecoin has to be manipulated, its supply has to be manipulated to keep its price constant, because remember, there are two different things that impact price, supply, and demand, and you also circulating supply and price impact market capitalization as well. So Terra Luna is an algorithmic stablecoin, has some of the strongest fundamentals in the top 10, and I am absolutely loving this project. I'm personally looking for a place to scoop it up because I just got interested in it in the last couple of months. The trouble that I run into with Luna is that just in the last 6 months, it's rallied from $6, 1,800% all the way up to $103. Now, obviously, it's down quite a bit today. It's down 36% from all-time high, but that all-time high was set just a couple weeks ago on Christmas, which was about 16 days ago, and it's been in a downtrend ever since. Right now, I'm looking for strong support on Luna, but to be honest with you, I am going to need to see a little bit more of a drop before I get too confident buying it, because I think there's other stronger buying opportunities in the market right now. I also don't see a lot of bullish reversal signals. MACD is still bearish. RSI is low, but it only pulled back down to 38, indicating we could have more room to run, and we may be seeing a bit of a buy setup on Market Cypher. You could potentially make this argument, but I don't think you're out of the woods yet. I think you'd be a little bit early to try and buy in on Market Cypher right there. But the point is, Luna's a great project. If you scoop it up and you hold it for 5 years, you're probably going to do pretty well. I just think that if you're trying to get the perfect opportunity, perfect buying opportunity, which isn't always the best idea, but if that's what you're going for, you might want to hold off just a little bit. But I do think it is a good project and one you should definitely be trying to get into. Moving on, speaking of another project you should definitely be looking into, we're looking at a layer 0 protocol called called Polkadot. Polkadot is what is known as an interoperability protocol. It helps to bring together different chains so that we're able to connect everything. It's almost like, let's say in America, you had 5 different railway systems using 5 different gauges of tracks, using 5 different types of trains. One is an electric track, one is a high-speed rail track. You have all these different tracks that carry different kinds of trains. Essentially, what Polkadot does is it is a way of merging all 5 of those rail networks into one cohesive rail network, so that instead of having 5 different types of trains that have to be built, you only need to have one. It is helping to bring together the cryptocurrency space by tying together those layer 1 protocols such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, not necessarily Bitcoin, but Ethereum, Avalanche, some of these other projects, and it is a great project to do so. But as far as its technicals are concerned, it just broke down, setting a new lower low It's currently sitting at $22 and is definitely in a bit of a state of free fall as the rest of the cryptocurrency market is. Unlike Luna, it actually has had a pretty significant drop. It's already down 60%. I purchased some DOT up here around $26, $27. I'm definitely thinking about buying more because if you zoom out on the daily chart, there's actually a very long-term level of support that goes back to December of 2020. I almost said December of last year, but oh my goodness, I can't believe we're already in 2022. Crazy how long it has been since the beginning of the whole global shutdown thing that we looked at a couple years ago. We have another anchor point here in July of 2021, and to be honest with you guys, there is a sort of magnetism to levels of support and resistance, so it would actually make a lot of sense if Bitcoin was to pull all the way back down to this, if DOT was to pull all the way back down to this support level. Is right now a time to buy DOT? Personally, I think it's a better buy at the moment than Luna is, because I think they're both phenomenal projects. I think they're both good buys, but I think if you're looking for what's approaching a great buy, I think you're getting there with DOT. I could definitely see DOT pulling back another 10% down to about 20 bucks, but that's not that big of a deal. That's the difference between $20 and $22. If you're looking to get DOT, I personally think right now is not a bad time. Now, let's move on finally to one other cryptocurrency before we get into Bitcoin here in about 7 minutes, called Cardano. I'm sure you guys already know about this. I've spoken extensively on this channel about how much I love Cardano, how much of a fan I am of Charles Hoskinson, of his leadership style, of what IOHK is doing on the continent of Africa, the smart contracts, Plutus backend is coming. We've got some amazing layer 2 situations coming, like AVAX, which is a cryptocurrency that I've invested in recently that is going to be in a decentralized exchange built on top of Cardano. Amazing things going on in this cryptocurrency. And one of the things that it has done over the last couple of days is it's actually finally broken below $1.21. I always expected that it would do this. Even back here in early December, I had a feeling we were going to break below $1.20. It frankly surprised me when we didn't break all the way down to $1 and we rallied all the way up to $1.45. It actually is a good thing because it means it reset the bears, but it does allow the bears to go further to the downside, and we're currently trading at $1.08. It's dropped 3 cents in just the last 45 minutes because 45 minutes ago, I bought a significant amount of Cardano. About 1% of my entire portfolio I moved into Cardano at $1.11, loaded up on it, and I've also told myself, hey, look, if Cardano gets down into this $1 to $1.05 region, I'm going to buy more because I am very confident in this project moving into the next year. Tim, we're going to get to all of your altcoin purchases here in a minute, but have you bought any Cardano specifically recently? And then we'll jump into Super Chats.
I bought Cardano 20 minutes ago.
Okay, good deal.
And depending on what we're doing, it's bounced since, about a little bit, but if it gets down to $1, I'm buying again. I actually had a plan set out. Taylor and I talked about it this last weekend. I bought at the moment because I love the price, even though that's higher than what we're at right now. So technically that buys at a loss. It's okay. I still like that price. And I set parameters. I said, if it gets up to this or down to this, I'm going to buy another bit. If it gets up to this and down to this, I'm going to buy some more. And I'm very happy with my purchase, despite technically speaking that purchase being in the red right now.
Absolutely. So guys, let me say one thing and then we're going to move into Super Chats. When we're talking about buying the dip, because I saw a couple comments on this in chat, and I definitely want to make sure I'm clear with what I'm saying here, because I do not want to, I don't want to say anything that might lead you to make a bad decision. Here's the deal. When we're talking about buying the dip and when we're talking about investing in some of these altcoins, Tim and I both, and Tim, I don't want to speak for you, but I believe this is your stance. I'm talking about buying things and holding them for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year. The Cardano I just purchased, I'm probably not going to sell until this decade's already half over. That's how long I'm planning. That's my time horizon. I'm not necessarily saying that Cardano can't drop down to 75 cents. I'm not necessarily saying that Polkadot can't drop down to $12. I'm not necessarily saying that Luna can't drop down to 45 bucks. I don't think it's going to do that, but it could. When we're talking about buying the dip, I'm not so worried about catching a falling knife because I'm planning on being in this for a long term. I'm not looking at this as a trade. I'm looking at this as an investment. So guys, yes, you do want to be careful when buying dips. It is oftentimes, if you're trading, a very good idea to wait for the bottom and see confirmation of the uptrend before you start to trade bullish. But if you're holding for the long term, I think now is a great time to be getting into some of these altcoins. I think you're getting some great opportunities that you might not see again if we do bottom out here relatively soon. With that said, let's go ahead and smash those like button. Smash that like button. I know that we can get to 1,000 likes here in the next couple of minutes. Thank you so very much to all 3,500 of you guys that have already tuned in. Let's go ahead and read some of your super chats. We are so very appreciative of your continued support, guys.
Yeah, and special thing with the other Taylor being on the show, I am not reading super chats today.
Woo!
It will be my beautiful wife Taylor reading super chats. So.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Which one's your wife? I'm sorry.
They're both beautiful people.
So let's go on to these super chats. The first one we got in from Retrace No. NGO. It says, Jebb, Bitcoin is down 1900 this AM and gold only 0.67.
Is that, yeah, so if Bitcoin's down Look, here's the thing. Bitcoin and gold have similar value props, but they're completely different industries. Whenever Bitcoin goes down, it doesn't necessarily mean gold's going to go down. And whenever gold goes down, it doesn't necessarily mean Bitcoin's going to go down. You know, Bitcoin is becoming much more, the cryptocurrency market is becoming much more intertwined with the stock market. But in general, unless you're looking at macro trends, the cryptocurrency markets have not really been very entwined with the precious metal markets or the Forex markets or any markets like that, at least that I've been able to see. Now, sometimes they do line up with the oil markets. We saw that in March of 2020 when Saudi Aramco and Russian oil companies got into it and there was a massive oil crash. Oil prices, I think, went negative for like 10 minutes. It was crazy. The fact is, Bitcoin doesn't follow gold as closely as you might think. So if gold and Bitcoin aren't moving together, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. There's anything to be worried about.
I mean, it
there.
also has to just do with volatility.
Yeah, it's also just volatility.
Gold is not
guys.
going to fall as sharply as Bitcoin.
Yeah,
neither is it going to rise as quickly as Bitcoin.
Exactly. Good deal.
Awesome. And then we have one from Chris Davidson. Looking at Bitcoin monthly, could there be an argument that we're about to go into a corrective Elliott wave ABC pattern?
That's an interesting question. So let me grab my Elliott waves here. I will come out and say right now that I'm not an expert on Elliott waves, but I know what he's talking about here. It does kind of look like going back to January of 2019 that we had a wave 1, corrective wave 2, wave 3, corrective wave 4, and then a wave 5. And what I believe he is saying is that we could be looking at the end of this, and then we could be going into an ABC corrective movement, something like this. That is very possible, and a lot of times that's kind of how a bear market looks. It would potentially end up with a massive, weird-looking head and shoulders pattern with these giant buff shoulders. But to be honest with you, the thing you have to keep in mind about long-term patterns and long-term technicals, and I've said this about head and shoulders, I've said this about triangle patterns. Triangle patterns typically are actually pretty accurate, but more complicated patterns such as Elliott waves, such as head and shoulders patterns and cup and handle formations and things like that, typically are not always going to play out exactly how you think on the long term, because the longer term perspective you get into, when we're looking at the monthly chart, we're looking at literally 3-4 years of market data, the technicals are not necessarily the thing driving price on this scope. The thing driving the price on this scale is actually the fundamentals, and the fundamentals don't necessarily tell me that we need to see a year's worth of ABC corrective. Maybe we do see that, but I would be careful putting too much stock in patterns on ultra long-term time frames, because the ultra long-term time frame is driven more by fundamentals than it is by chart formations. That's why we do most of our charting down on the 1-day and the weekly chart, and then some on the monthly chart. But in general, I found the fundamentals are really what you need to be looking at up there. We got time for one more, and then we're going to jump into Bitcoin.
I want to make sure, Jebb, I don't know if you want to go find this to show. I'm sure Kelly is sitting here. He's not on the show this morning, but I'm sure he's saying, if you went to my Twitter right now, you'd actually see something that was played out. I think it was made by a guy named Picasso. Crypto Picasso is his Twitter username. But he talked about how we just had an ABC rally and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 correction, or a bigger ABC. It's time for the C.
Yeah, I'll show it on my chart right here.
So I don't know if that's what he was asking either. That's the thing about Elliott waves, as Jebb just said. He's not an expert. I don't know. I definitely am not an expert on that. There's so many things you could say. Oh, it could do this. It could do that. Yeah. It could do this. So
I actually, to clarify, I really like Elliott waves. Yeah. For the first 3.5 years of my trading, of my analysis career, I really didn't like them. But now that I've studied them more, I think they're actually extremely helpful. So this that he's talking about with Kelly's quote right here from at Crypto Picasso, shout out to him, does actually look very much like an ABC rally followed by a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 correction. Normally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is uptrend, ABC is downtrend, but in this case, that's how it played out. Mm-hmm. I would actually very much agree with this chart that we do look like we're getting to the bottom of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement, and that we probably are going to see some kind of bottom relatively soon. That's what my takeaway would be anyway. But let's have one more super chat, and then we will keep going on here. Full screen.
Just a few more, but we'll do those in a later time as well. But this one, member for 4 months, Guillermo Lima. He is a Jebbi youngling. He's like, good morning, people. Proud to be a part of this community. Well, Guillermo, we are proud for you to be a part of this community too. And we appreciate you.
Thank you so much to all of our awesome people that are subscribed. Guys, I remember, let me tell you a little bit of a story real quick, and then we're going to jump into Bitcoin. I remember when I started the channel, I downloaded YouTube Studio, which if you've ever made YouTube content on your phone, it's a little app that shows you all the back-end stuff for YouTube. So you get to see subscribers, watch time, views, all this stuff, ad revenue, subscribers. And I remember sitting down on a concrete bench at the local college one time, and I looked at this app, and the last time I looked at it, I had 5 subscribers, and then I looked at it again, and there were 7 subscribers. And you might not know this about me. This is actually the 5th YouTube channel I've ever run. I've been trying to make YouTube channels take off for 10 years now. I started in middle school in 2011. 9/11, and it never worked until Crypto Jebb came along. And I remember looking at that, and I saw 2 people subscribed in the same day, and I told myself I will never use the word I. And we had 7 subscribers at the time, and I was like, huh. Yeah, I didn't do this. We did this. And I'm not even kidding, guys. That's not one of those stories that you make up because you want to put it in like the front cover of a book or something. That is genuinely a conversation I had with myself. And I remember talking to it about it with my dad. And my dad's like, "Why are you saying we? You don't have a team. You don't have an edit. I'm very proud of you, Jebb, but like, what do you mean we? It's just you." And I said, "No, Dad, there's like 5,000 subscribers here. It's we." So I just want to thank you guys for our community. You guys are absolutely amazing. With that said, guys, didn't mean to lead this into a sales pitch, but I'm going to because I genuinely want to meet you guys. We're going to be at the North American Bitcoin Conference on the 17th through the 19th. If you guys don't know what that is, TNABC is the North American Bitcoin Conference. They've been doing it for, I want to say, 8 years running now. Some of the biggest projects that you guys know about, Ethereum, Tezos, a few others, were launched at the North American Bitcoin Conference in Miami. We are going to be down there very soon. And if you guys want to get tickets, we have a 20% off exclusive coupon with the link in the description box down below. There's about 4,000 people in attendance. Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, is going to be there. Francis Suarez, the mayor of Miami, is going to be there. Mark Cuban's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Crypto Banter, someone you may know from YouTube, is going to be there. A lot of big names, a lot of big billionaire names are going to be there. It's going to be a great networking opportunity for you. If you are anything in the business of crypto, you're going to, I think it's either the chief technology officer or the chief information officer of Ripple Labs is going to be there. Major power players are going to be there, and we would love to meet you. We're going there because we want to meet people. We want to interact with you guys. So if you guys want to meet us, make sure to use the link in the description box down below. Get 20% off. With that said, let's go ahead and jump on into Bitcoin here. And let's go ahead and see what we are doing. Bitcoin at the moment has broken below $40,000, but we're actually going to start down on the hourly chart because we have finally seen, and I'm going to bring Tim in here a lot earlier than I normally do, we have finally seen a massive wick down here on the hourly chart. Notice Bitcoin's open right now on this hourly candlestick is $40,750. We're currently at $41,200. We have an hourly chart wick that is negative $1,000. Tim, I don't know about you, but I have been looking for a massive sell-off followed by a massive buy where the bulls show, no, actually, we're stronger than the bears. This seems to be the first time in a long time that we've seen a major dump, and the bulls have bought it up exceptionally well. We saw a massive volume candlestick. Do you think that we just confirmed that $40,000 at the bottom? Did the retail just tell the whales, no, whales, we're not going below 40K. This is as far as we'll let this go?
Before I use the word confirm, let's get back to 46. So I'm going to start by saying that. But I've been saying here for a little minute, you can go back and watch last show, what we are in the middle of doing is shaking out weak hands. The whales are really trying to find out what can they loosen, like what if they were mining actual rocks, how many rocks can we still loosen? But you got to realize they're wasting their energy and their money by continuing to get the price down. So if there's a lot of ease, if people just give up their Bitcoin easily, we can keep going down. But I think we are finding a lot more resistance from the bulls at this level. And that has to do with even back when we were up at around 45, 46, we saw 76% of Bitcoin is illiquid. What I'm seeing happen right now is exactly what I expected to happen. And it doesn't mean that we can't go down lower. But I just presumed that we were going to come down to 42, shake it out, and have a wick that went down as far as 39.6. That was the bottom of our daily and weekly Bollinger Bands. That's the bottom of where we were last when we had a support level back on, let me find the date because I'm looking, why am I looking on the hourly chart? I don't know why. Back the date of 21st of September, that we had that little wick drop down. We came and matched that again. This is the perfect spot. And even in the sentiment of the market, it's the perfect spot because when we were up around 46, 45, a lot of bulls were saying, it's okay, we're going to be fine. This is a good spot. Let's rally up. The bears hadn't yet really found their voice. Then we dropped down to 42, and that's when the bulls started getting really weak. The bears started getting really loud. And I think I put this on my Twitter a couple of days ago, but think through this logically. If we are having manipulation on price when everyone thinks everything's going to go well. So when we were on 45, 46, everyone was like, it's okay, we're going to go up. We had that nice rally up to 52, but then we resisted. Everyone's like, it's going to be okay, it's going to be all right. It makes sense if the manipulation moving the price down happened when that happened. Right now, when the fear and greed index is I think it's sitting at 10, maybe a little bit
Yeah, I'll
lower.
check.
When look at our chat right now. Look at how many people are saying, "What are we talking about? We're in a bear market." Wouldn't it make sense that when everyone thought everything was okay, they manipulated the price down? But now that everyone's freaking out, it's time to manipulate back up.
Yep.
That's what I think. And I think it's funny that I said verbatim, we're going to have a wick down to 39.6. It doesn't mean I'm 100% right. Maybe we drop down below that. Maybe we close some candles below it. But I think it's funny that right now what we're looking at is a wick that touched the exact level that I said it would. And then we rallied back up over 41K. I think right now we're sitting at 49, but we went back to 41. And so this is something to keep an eye on, but I just would...
Dab nabbit, Tim. You said 39.6 and only went to 39.8. What the heck, dude? You can't get anything
Well, what
right.
chart are you looking at?
I'm looking at Coinbase.
Oh, I'm looking at Bitstamp.
Dab nabbit. You're 50 bucks
Coinbase only
off.
went to 30. It only went to 8.
50 bucks off, Tim.
All right, well, let's
You
go
gotta
down,
do better
let's go
than
down
that.
one more time.
You
Let's
gotta
go
do better
one
than
more time.
that. Come on, man.
One more time.
This is the Crypto Jebb channel. Best TA on YouTube. We gotta be better than that. Anyway, guys, I'm joking, obviously. Let's look at the 2-daily chart here. I want to show you the 2-daily chart because this just showed up to me. I was looking around on the chart while Tim was talking. A couple interesting things going on here. Number one, our entire candle body on the 2-daily chart for Bitcoin is down here below the Bollinger Bands. And I know Kelly's sitting in his chair at his desk right now going, Jebb's looking at the 2-day chart. Jebb never looks at the 2-day chart. I see you, Kelly. You're in New York. You're 1,000 miles away. I know you're doing that. We're currently seeing on the 2-daily chart that we're down below the Bollinger Bands and that there is a spinning top going on the 2-day. If we close this 2-daily candlestick right here, which I believe we will, something like this, then we're going to see a spinning top. Why is that important? Because spinning tops signal indecision. Indecision is one step away from a trend. So if you're in a downtrend, if you're confidently in a downtrend, and then you start saying, I don't know if we're in a downtrend anymore, that's one step towards bullish. On the other hand, if you're in an uptrend and you're saying, we're in an uptrend, and then there's indecision, that's one step towards a downtrend. So I actually like to see spinning tops because oftentimes it indicates that the reversal is coming. So we're currently seeing a spinning top, and we're completely below, candle body and all, just the upper wick isn't, below the 2-daily chart Southern Bollinger Bands. And I do think that's actually very important because Bitcoin is potentially seeing a buying opportunity here. Now, let's also look at some of our technical indicators here on the daily chart. Looking at the RSI has got some very interesting things to say right now. We are currently sitting at 28. We're going to do some historical analysis here, and I'm also going to show something Kelly tweeted. Let's just go ahead and draw a line at 28. And let's see. The last time we saw 28 get hit was back here in May, roughly May 25th of 2021. Where was that? It was right here. We were bottoming out close to $30,000 back then. In fact, I'm just going to draw a vertical line each time that we go below this line, roughly around 28. We can also see that we went down below 28 here on the 13th of March 2020. But the third time that we go back to find this, we have to go all the way back to 2019. Just so you know, we have only seen, this is only the third time in 2 years that Bitcoin has been this low on RSI. What does that mean? Normally means we're at the bottom, or that we're very close in price to the bottom, but maybe not necessarily in time. We're going to talk about that in a second too. We also see that we saw a bottom here at the end of November and also mid-September. And then finally, we saw a time when Bitcoin went down below 28 back in November of 2018. Only 5 times in 3 years are we looking at here. Let's see what happened every time Bitcoin did this. The most recent time we saw Bitcoin go down to 28, we hit the bottom at about $32,000. We would end up going to $30,000. And this is the point I want to make here. We bottomed out in price, not necessarily in time. When we bottomed out on RSI, we pulled all the way back down to $30,450. Our bottom would be $30,000. So we bottomed out in price here, not necessarily in time. We basically traded sideways and filled this wick over the next 3 months. So am I saying that the bottom is in today in price and that we're going to rally tomorrow, or excuse me, in time and that we're going to rally tomorrow? That's not what I'm saying. We could trade sideways for another 2 months. What I am saying is that based on our historical analysis, we found the bottom in price, even if not yet in time. Let's look at the other time that we saw this happen. The second most recent time that we saw Bitcoin go below 28 was back during the drop that we saw in March during the global lockdowns that started. Obviously, we went into a major rally after that. We saw one here in November. We went into a rally after that. We went into one here in the 5th of October. This is another example where we found the bottom in price, but not necessarily in time. If we zoom in here, Bitcoin would only go below this level of $7,740 for 2 more days. We found the bottom in price, not necessarily in time because we had to trade sideways for a while. Going back before that, we also saw that Bitcoin pulled back down here when it bottomed out roughly around $3,000 to $3,500. Wouldn't it be nice to scoop up some Bitcoin at $3,000 to $3,500? I would absolutely love that. And if you're looking for a bottom, RSI is telling you that you just found it. And by the way, I also want to give credit to Kelly because this is something that he found and that he actually retweeted from Bitcoin Archive here, BTC Archive. If you take a look at the RSIs here, this crash, which I'm not going to say on YouTube, the summer crash that we saw last year following the Elon Musks debacle, both of those are the last 2 times that we've seen RSI pull back this low, and that is a strong buying signal. Let's also go ahead and continue on here, though, because I want to take a look at a few other things. If we look at the VPVR, we're going to find that Bitcoin is currently moving to the downside through a major zone of support on VPVR. In fact, we're sitting in a valley on it right now, if I recall correctly. For some reason, VPVR doesn't want to load for me here, but when it does, we're going to see if there's a big spike right there, big spike right there. Look at that, guys. That's memory right there. We've been looking at these charts so much. I know what the VPVR looks like before it comes up. By the way, if you're an analyst and you know that feeling, you're like, oh, I can just see that. I don't even need to draw it. Somehow I know that's there. That's called chart vision, is what I call that. That's an example of what chart vision looks like. I've been looking at these charts for so long that it just kind of shows up. If we look here at VPVR, you can see that a new VPVR mountain, if you will, starts at $41,700. We're currently sitting around 40 to 40 and a half. That means that we're starting to have to roll the ball up the hill. For the whole time that we were below 47, we've been letting gravity pull the ball down the hill. Now we're having to roll the ball up the hill. So that means it's going to get more and more difficult for Bitcoin to push to the downside as a result of the support that VPVR is showing us. Now, let's also take a look here at Cypher, because Cypher is telling us some very interesting things. Market Cypher is an indicator that we are actually sponsored by. If you're interested in it, the link is in the description box down below. And there is a green dot that is just flashed here. The last time we saw a green dot on Cypher was the 18th of December. And by the way, when we did see that, we did go into a small little uptrend for the span of about 4 to 5 days. Currently, we are seeing another green dot, not just on the momentum right here, these blue momentum waves, but we also saw a green dot down here. These are typically pretty strong bottoming and buying signals. And what I'm looking at on Market Cypher right now is I'm looking for the money flow to start curving to the upside. That's this red line. That indicates how much money's coming into the space. And I'm looking for these RSI lines to start curving to the upside. Remember how I said Bitcoin's normal RSI is at the lowest level it's been at in a very long time? Well, Market Cypher is actually the same way, because if I go in here and I turn off, well, it's not going to let me bring them up, but if we look at the RSI lines right here, these are these lines right here. We have not seen RSI get as low as it is right now, sitting at 3, unless you go all the way back to October of 2019. You can see it's right over here. I know this is kind of hard to see, but take my word for it. That's the last time we've seen RSI lines get that low. Massive bottoming signal right there, guys. We just want to start to see RSI's VWAP, money flow, and momentum start curving to the upside, and we could be seeing a very strong buying setup here in just the next couple of days as a result of that. But I also want to mention Lux Algo. As you guys know, Lux Algo is going to be bearish on the daily chart. Duh. I mean, we obviously are not pulling in any kind of strong buy signals and trend confirmations here on Lux Algo on the daily chart. We're under a sell signal, and we have been since the 16th of November, if I recall correctly. But that doesn't mean that we can't enter an uptrend on the shorter term time frame. So let me turn everything on here. I want to start by looking at the 4-hourly chart, because if we see a bottom form on the 4-hourly chart and we confirm an uptrend on the 4-hourly chart, that's going to be huge, because that could move over into something bigger. By the way, if you're enjoying today's technical analysis, make sure to smash that like button. Let's get to 1,500 likes here in the next couple of minutes. And if you want to learn how to do the kind of technical analysis I'm doing, check out our academy, the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, down below, where you can learn how to do literally everything I'm doing right now. As far as Lux Algo is concerned, we're in a confirmed downtrend. We know that because we have a sell signal. Trend catcher is red. And then also in my strategy, I look at Lux Oscillator, which comes with the package. We have seen quite a bit of red in here, and that indicates to me that the market is in a confirmed downtrend. We've been in one, even on the 4-hourly chart, for quite some time. In fact, this was not even a confirmed uptrend, so we've been in a confirmed downtrend for the better part of a month. Right now, we are seeing that we're getting very, very low. We push down here into the reversal zones. And the point I'm making here on Lux Algo is that we don't need much of an uptrend for Bitcoin to be able to go into an uptrend. We just need to see Bitcoin rally above the trend catcher right here. We need to see the Lux Oscillator move to the upside, and we also need to see a buy signal come in on 4-hourly chart. If we do see those confirmations, then we are going to be sitting very pretty. So Tim, I want to ask you a question. You were a little skeptical of Lux Algo at first. What do you think of it, and do you think that we are seeing a bottom potentially forming? What are you looking at on Lux Algo to potentially confirm an uptrend? We haven't done it yet, but how would you have confidence that a new uptrend is forming based on that indicator?
Well, I'll answer the first part of it. You know, I was skeptical on Lux Algo. Why was I skeptical on Lux Algo? Because I fell into the trap of thinking, oh, I buy when the signal says buy, and I sell when the signal says sell, and that's all you do. It's that simple. I got very frustrated very quickly because it wasn't working. You know, every now and then I would take a little bit of profit, but I was finding more often than not, no, I wasn't as profitable as I thought I would be. So I was very skeptical. I had a conversation with Jebb. I was like, I don't know about this. Like, is this stuff actually working? Then we got to meet Sean, and we got to talk to the creator of the project, and he explained to us what his thoughts were, and that was this buy and sell signal are there to help, but really the trend catcher, the colors of the candles, those different levels of resistance, what do you call them? The reversal zones.
The reversal zones.
Ever since I have started using those, I have fallen in love with using Lux Algo.
Yep.
So that's my story. The second half of your question, Jebb, remind me. Sorry.
How would you use Lux Algo to confirm that we're going into an uptrend if we are?
Okay, so the way I use Lux Algo, because I love using TA alone. I don't. Let me put it this way. I think you could use Lux Algo by itself and do pretty well. I love using it as a confirmer of what I'm seeing in the technicals. So it's like another tool to my kit. So what I love to look at, again, I think I just said it. So first of all, trend catcher. So what I'll look at is I'll go to some of the smaller time frames and look, hey, are we starting to turn green or are we starting to turn red on some of the smaller time frames that look like it's building into something bigger? Another thing I'll look at is the colors of those candles. So that's really clean. When I see candles turn from red to purple or green to purple, or are they still red? Are they still green? I'm like, all right, it really hasn't come to a position where it wants to flip just yet. And then the last one I'll do is, there's two more. Sorry. The other one, how below the trend catcher or how far above the trend catcher are we? Because if you go and do back analysis, almost every single time we start to create some distance from the trend catcher, there needs to be a correction to it. Kind of similar to how the S2F pool. Why did I say S2F pool? The stock to flow ratio. My bad.
Model.
The stock to flow ratio. We're in a moment right now where we're drastically below it, which is one of the reasons why I believe we are going to at some point this year have a very explosive rally. In the same thing, when you go back and look, every time we get a little bit too far below it, we have a nice spring up back to its levels. Every time we get a little bit too overextended, we have a nice hard crash to come back to reality. Same thing with this trend catcher. When you go back and you look at the back analysis, when we get too far away from it, we end up kind of rallying back to it, whether that's back up or back down. So that's another one I really look at. And then the last one is, and it doesn't always do it, so this isn't perfect, but it is one I keep an eye on, is looking at those reversal zones. Sometimes it reverses before it gets to those zones, but especially if it gets down to that second ring, because what I see is like 3 different rings, especially if I see something go down and touch the second ring, I'm like, all right, that's at least going to make us start moving sideways, if not reverse completely. Yeah,
absolutely. Solid points, my friend, and I am a big fan of the stock to flow model, and I'm also a big fan of Lux Algo. If you guys want to get Lux Algo, they are an affiliate of ours. Even if they weren't, we would be using it every single day.
Yeah, absolutely.
We love Lux Algo and our entire technical analysis team. We've got like 5 people on staff that do regular technical analysis. Myself, Tim, Kelly, T-Shroom, all 4 of us use it. It's a solid project, and we are big fans of it. But I also want to jump on over to Kelly's Twitter and point out some on-chain metrics. A lot of people are worried about people selling the market. Well, I have reason to believe, very good reason to believe, that that's not really the concern at the moment. Weekly on-chain exchange flows. Bitcoin, we've seen a $250 million net outflow. Ethereum, we've seen $117 million net outflow. Tether, we've seen a $40 million inflow. Now, you probably already know the deal with exchange outflows. Like, okay, if people are moving cryptocurrency off of exchanges, then that means that they're hodling, they're putting it into long-term storage, it's going into cold storage, and that's great for the price, right? Because you drop the supply, you keep the demand where it is, then the price goes up, and that's what we want to see. What a lot of people don't talk about is stablecoin inflows. So we've talked about cryptocurrency exchange outflows, but let's talk about stablecoin inflows. Let me riddle you this. Why did $40 million worth of Tether just come onto the cryptocurrency market? This metric, by the way, is not saying that people sold cryptocurrency and they received $40 million worth of Tether. At least that's not what it seems like to me. I don't think that's what Glassnode is getting at here. It sounds to me like $40 million came onto exchanges from somewhere else. Does that mean that people are putting stablecoins on exchange to buy the dip? I can't tell you, but that's kind of what it looks like to me. I actually like seeing stablecoins flow on exchange while cryptocurrency is flowing off, because oftentimes that indicates to me that people are buying the freaking dip as it goes. Now, another one that I want to show you here, Glassnode alerts Bitcoin number of addresses in loss just reached a 5-month high of 11.3 million. This is an interesting statistic because you could argue that this is bullish or bearish. I'm going to argue that this is actually bullish because if a lot of people are at loss, then that means that a lot of people are probably going to be buying in to cover their losses and to shore up the deficit that they are in. For example, my average entry price before I bought Cardano this morning, I want to say it was around $1.31. I need to go and actually do the math on it, but I think it's around $1.30. I just bought quite a bit of Cardano, and I dropped my average entry price down to around $1.18. Doing that means that I'm lowering lowering my loss, I'm lowering my average loss, and I'm setting myself up with a lower entry for the long term. I think a lot of people are doing that right now on Bitcoin, and also when this number is high, it means that any of the weak hands that we're needing to get shaken out are going to, because if they're going to leave as a result of low prices, they've got their opportunity now. So I would say that it could be taken as a bullish or a bearish thing. I think it's actually a pretty bullish thing. Now, this is another metric. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this, but this did just reach a 5-month low. It's called the SOPR. Don't have time to go into it, but it is very interesting. You can go to studio.glassnode.com/metrics and look at all this on your own. This metric hitting a low is a very, very bullish sign. And then we've also got another one over here. Bitcoin open interest in perpetual futures contracts just reached a 1-month low of $2.1 billion on FTX. The previous low was $2.192 billion observed a couple of days ago. This means that there's less open interest on perpetual futures contracts. People are probably more often than not working in spot right now, or they're hodling. That's kind of one of those things you could read into that two different ways. I think it's a bullish thing, though. Now, another thing I want to mention, I believe, actually, those were all the things I wanted to show you over here on the chart. What we're going to do now is we're going to go into our next intermission. We're going to read some more of you guys' super chats, and we're going to thank you guys once again for tuning in. Just so you guys know, our heart here, and it has been for the last 4.5 years, since November 16th, the day I launched this channel in 2017, ever since the day I launched this channel, the point of this channel for over 4 years has been to help you achieve financial freedom. What does that mean to me? In fact, I'm thinking about changing the term from financial freedom to financial sovereignty, because financial freedom has been corrupted to mean something that I'm not trying to convey. I'm not saying that I want to help you get a Lambo or help you get a $40 million house. If that's what you want, you go and get that. I want to help you achieve your dreams. What I'm really interested in is helping you become sovereign over your finances so that they don't have sovereignty over you. Sovereignty means ownership. I want you guys to have ownership over your finances. I want you guys to be free to put food on the table for your kids, and make sure there's a house over a roof over your head, and make sure that if there's a parent in need, that you're able to take care of that. If there's a ministry that you want to donate to, that you're able to do that. I want to help you achieve financial sovereignty and financial freedom so that you can do the things that God has purposed on your life. And that's our mission statement, to help you live a purpose-driven life, because that is where true fulfillment is going to come from. Financial sovereignty, financial freedom is a big part of what gives you the resources to live said purpose-driven life. With that said, let's go ahead and read some super chats.
So Cryptosaurus Rex, he says, if shopping this morning, what are your thoughts on taking advantage of Bitcoin pairing versus USDT pairing? Good morning to the CJ crew from CO.
I think it's a great thing. You know, US dollar tether, the whole point of it is to give you an easy way to cash out profits and an easy way to find, to have cash on the side to put into it. I'm not quite sure what he's asking, though. Can you repeat the question, Taylor?
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, sorry. If shopping this morning, on taking advantage of Bitcoin pairing versus USDT pairing, what are your thoughts?
Oh,
I think
I
buying something against Bitcoin.
I see what he's saying. I see what they're saying. Okay, I see what you're saying. I just bought Cardano with Bitcoin, and you know, I really wished that I had money in Tether on the side, because I didn't want to take any money out of my Bitcoin. Personally, I'll give you a bit of a portfolio management tip that I think will help with this. Personally, I think everyone should have 3 portfolios in cryptocurrency: trading, investing, and cash portfolio. Now, my trading portfolio is basically non-existent right now, because I've moved into basically just being an investor. That's how I get the most fulfillment out of working in cryptocurrency markets right now. So my portfolio is basically 2, investment and cash. I like having cash on the side so that I'm able to take advantage of dips. Billionaires are made in recessions, and I'll tell you why. It's because they're smart enough to have $100 million in cash on the side, or if you're talking about your average Joe, they have $50,000 sitting on the side, or $10,000 sitting on the side, and take advantage of those dips. Scoop up those houses that are getting short sale and going at tax auction. Scoop up those houses. I know a guy that just bought a house for $10,000. He's going to turn around and sell it for $125,000 because he bought it at a tax auction. That's what having cash on the side is going to be able to do for you. It allows you to take advantage of those opportunities. So what I would say is it's a very important thing to have cash on the side for when we go into these major drops like this, so that you're able to take advantage of the dips. I personally wish that I had more cash that I was willing to put into cryptocurrency. I have plenty of cash, but not any that I'm willing to put into crypto, because I want to leave it in the business right now. And that's one of my big goals for 2022, is to take a little bit of profit every once in a while and then put more cash into crypto, not straight into Bitcoin, but straight into a stable coin, so that I'm able to take advantage of those drops when they do come, such as they have today.
Yeah, I want to expound, because this is something Cryptosaurus Rex I have played with before. This is a good. I think this is what you're asking. This might be a little bit more direct question or direct answer, and take with it what you want. This is a good time to take U.S. dollars or fiat or whatever you're from, and put it into crypto as a whole. There's a lot of different things that look like they're at a great buying point. I am a fan, though, of in the middle of bull runs, looking at the Bitcoin pairings to see, hey, is it look like this coin's about to outpace Bitcoin and let it right there. I only do it with my trading portfolio, never my HODL portfolio. So I'll leave my HODL no matter how much Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, whatever else is in there. You know, I'll leave that there. Trading though, yeah, I don't know about right now, but watch as we start to make the run. That's when you really want to start paying attention to those Bitcoin pairings to say, hey, which one will I get the most return on? So which horse should I be racing on right now? And keep an eye on that horse. And what time is it time? When is it time to jump horses to another coin?
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Let's read a few more, and then we'll keep going here into Ethereum in a few minutes.
Absolutely. So James Lee says or asks, have you ever taken a look at the MACD on the monthly chart for Bitcoin and noticed a bearish cross? Does this forecast a long-term downtrend?
Yes. No, I did see that, and I'll go ahead and show you what they're talking about here. There's a bearish MACD cross coming in right now on Bitcoin, and I will show you the entire history of Bitcoin here just very briefly. We're going to run through this quickly. We had a bearish MACD cross on monthly chart for Bitcoin August 1st of 2014. Let's keep going here. The next time we saw one was here June the 1st, 2018. You're going to see where I'm going with this. And then the next time we saw a bearish MACD cross was the 1st of December. These are the three bearish MACD crosses that we have seen. Take a look at something very important here because we're looking like we're about to see another one. They all showed up as very lagging indicators over halfway through the downtrend. Here in 2014, Bitcoin dropped for a grand total of 426 days, basically 13, 14, 15 months. We showed up with a bearish MACD cross halfway through. In 2018, we didn't show up with a bearish MACD cross till June. By December, we had bottomed out at $3,200. Here in December of 2019, we'd been in a downtrend since June. 6 months in, we bottomed out 3 months later. So have we seen a bearish MACD cross on the monthly chart? It hasn't confirmed yet, first of all, because we haven't necessarily, I don't necessarily think that we're going to keep going down into February. I think we're going to be having a green candlestick in February, because it's very rare to see more than 3 red candlesticks on the monthly chart in a row in a bull market, and we are most certainly in a bull market even still. I think that, one, this bearish MACD cross might not even happen, and two, if it does, we have seen historically that it shows up over half of the way through the downtrend, and we're already very far through the downtrend here because theoretically you could argue we started in April when we all-time high'd at $69,000. Now, of course, we technically set a newer higher high, but in general, it's a very lagging indicator. I wouldn't put too much stock in it because it kind of shows you more about the past than it predicts about the future.
You know, he asked this earlier, and I responded. Just so you guys know, earlier in the show, I went and looked at that. That histogram was red. While we have been talking, because when we were talking about that, the price was sitting right around 40,000. Maybe it was 40,500. We're now sitting at 41,859. Oh no, sorry, I don't know why.
You're
I'm
on
looking at BLX. I'm looking at BLX. What are we at right now? 4063. We were, I think, around 39. So in the matter of a couple of minutes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was looking at BLX. On the BLX, it's still green. We have all month. We're still early in January. Today is the what? 10th. Today's the 10th. We have until the end of January for this histogram to play out.
Yep.
And to finish its thing, but just so he feels affirmed, okay. Now what I'm looking at now, it's red on one chart, red on a couple different charts.
Is what it is.
It has not confirmed whatsoever. The other thing is, look at, as Jebb pointed out, this is the other point, is look at the other times we turned red. We had that one back in 2018 that we stayed red for a decent, almost a full year, but the other times one red, then one deep red, but then it turned light red again, which means we're going bullish again. These, in the history of Bitcoin, have not been overwhelmingly long term.
And that's why it's very important to look at price on the monthly chart because it gives you perspective, but a lot of the technical indicators on the monthly chart start to kind of break down because normally they're designed for the daily and the weekly chart, or if they're designed for the monthly chart, they're designed for the monthly chart in the stock market with 75 years of price data history. That's why you have to be careful about how you look at these trends, because 10 years seems like a long time on Bitcoin, but to be honest with you, when you're looking at the Bitcoin history, the entire Bitcoin history, you're only looking at 137 bars of history in the entirety of the longest time, in the longest chart in the history of Bitcoin. You're looking at 137, 138 months worth of data. That's not that much to really do historical analysis on. That's why even though Bitcoin's 12, 13 years old, it's kind of a little sketchy to do too much historical back analysis on the monthly chart, simply because even 2 years ago, the cryptocurrency market was nowhere near as mature as it is, so it's very hard to compare. When you're talking about something like Apple that's been a mature company and in the top 10 most valuable companies for a decade, yeah, looking at that decade of price history is great, but with Bitcoin, it's really come into its own in the last 2 years, and you just have to take it with a grain of salt. Remember, I say this all the time, guys, one of the most important things to know about technical analysis is the limitations of technical analysis, and not to attack technical analysis because of its limitations, but to acknowledge them and then use technical analysis in the way that is best conducive to you being successful. We got time for one more question, then we're going to move forward here.
Alrighty. So let's do from Asir Usaraga. Hi guys, greetings from Venezuela. Just wanted your
Greetings.
opinion. Yes, absolutely. If you had 10K, in what would you invest today? Long-term prospects. Thanks.
Personally, I would, especially if you're in Venezuela, because of the situation with the Bolivar down there, I would personally put at least half of it into Bitcoin. Now, I'm not your financial advisor. I encourage you actually to probably spend $200 or $300 of that to go and talk to a financial advisor and get their opinion on this. Maybe. I mean, you don't necessarily have to do that, but it might be a good idea for you. It depends on how versed you are in crypto and how much you're willing to learn. I would put over half of it in Bitcoin. Personally. Now, I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to have less than half of my portfolio in Bitcoin. I'm right around that 50% mark right there. But I really like what George talks about over at Cryptos R Us, which shout out to George. If you guys haven't subscribed to him, definitely go and subscribe to him. He talks about having 50% in Bitcoin, 25% in large caps, 25% in small caps, and I would agree with that. I think 50% in Bitcoin is a solid foundation. 25% in large caps, we're talking top 10, top 15 cryptos like Cardano, a Polkadot, a Luna, a Binance coin, an Ethereum, and an XRP. Those are where you put the top 25%, and then speculate maybe a little bit if you want with those lower 25%. I mainly focus on top 20 projects. I don't have very much at all invested outside the top 20, but another thing to keep in mind is that it's not a bad idea to put a certain portion of that aside just for moon bags. Like, I have investments in cryptocurrencies that I could genuinely see this cryptocurrency going up 500x. Like, AVAX is the one I'm thinking of right now. I could genuinely see that cryptocurrency going from $30 or $40 million in market cap, whatever it is right now, to $30 or $40 billion in market cap if it is going to be the #1 decentralized exchange on Cardano. So having a little moon bag isn't a bad idea either. Great question, by the way. Phenomenal question, and everybody in chat, feel free to weigh in on that. He's got 10 grand to invest in fiat, or that theoretically there's 10 grand to invest in fiat to invest. Where should he put it? I'd love to see some hashtag ADA gangs and hashtag Link Marines and everything in chat. Let's go ahead and see what team you're on. What do you think the #1 cryptocurrency that he should invest in is? But let's go ahead and jump on over to Ethereum. A lot of FUD in Ethereum right now because Ethereum just dropped below the 3K mark for the first time in several months. A lot of people freaking out right now thinking, oh my gosh, Ethereum's I gotta sell my Ethereum. It's all gonna crash. It's gonna burn. It's gonna die. I really don't think that's the case, guys. And I think we need to be careful about our emotions because it's very easy to get freaked out whenever a market correction is happening. Look, guys, we talked about how $3,000 was in the cards. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I am telling you, almost 2 months ago, I told you $3,000 was in the cards, and there are two major reasons why. #1, actually, there's three major reasons why. See how I did there? There's 3,000. $3,000 is a big even. That's one of them. #2, this long-term uptrend that starts back here on February, roughly Valentine's Day of 2020. It also has a touch right here on the 11th of January, right here on the 20th of July. You extrapolate that out, that's exactly where we're bouncing right now. So $3,000 is one, that long-term uptrend is another. And then also, if we draw our Fibonacci retracement right here, going back from our bottom on the 22nd of July, all the way up to our top at $48,000, let's try and draw this as close as we possibly can. Then we see that our predicted bottom for the Fibonacci Golden Pocket is 61.8% at $2,927. Well, let's zoom in here to the 5-minute chart and see where Ethereum dropped down to. We dropped down to $29,029. We got within $2 of the prediction that we made 45 days ago. And more accurately, it's not that we made 45 days ago, it's that Fibonacci made 45 days ago. I don't want to take credit necessarily for something a technical indicator says. What I will take credit for is telling you guys and making sure you guys are informed of what's going on in the cryptocurrency space. We are wrong all the time. I think we're right more than we're wrong, but we've been wrong before, we'll be wrong in the past. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, but what I am saying is it's very important that you study technical analysis and that you listen to other people who know what they're talking about in cryptocurrency technical analysis, not just us. There's other great channels on the interwebs. I'm thinking of like a Tom Crown, a Wendy O. Those people, go subscribe to them also. They've got perspectives that will be valuable to you. The Fibonacci retracement is very important because typically what we see happen in Fibonacci, I'm going to use Bitcoin as an example here because what I'm most familiar with. Typically what we see happen here with Fibonacci, and we teach about Fibonacci in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. If you want to learn about it, that's a great place to go and learn about it. Fibonacci retracement, whenever you have a retracement, retracement is just a counter movement to the primary trend. So we have a primary downtrend here in January, February 2018. Then we had a counter movement. We pushed all the way up to a fib level here at 38.2. That is the inverse of 61.8. Add 61.8 to 38.2, you get 1. They are inverses of each other. They add together to that multiple. But if we look further on here into the rest of the 2018 bear market in Bitcoin, we will see time and time again that Bitcoin would invariably rally right back up to the golden pocket. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about here. In these two instances, we saw that Bitcoin pulled back here from $11,700 down to a local low of $6,500. We rallied all the way up. And I'll go ahead and delete this one, actually, so you can see a little easier. We rallied all the way back up to 61.8 right here. That's oftentimes where a corrective movement will go. It'll go 61.8% of the way, all the way back up to the local high, or the local bottom in the case of Ethereum. Same thing happened here. I remember doing analysis on this in June and July of 2018. I remember telling you guys 3 years ago that Bitcoin was going to have major resistance at $8,400 because that is the Fibonacci golden pocket. There are videos on that in the channel. You can go back and watch them. Bitcoin rallied, rejected at 61.8. That is very important that we know about 61.8 because it is the level that Ethereum itself just pulled back to test. Whenever Bitcoin or Ethereum goes into a retracement against the primary trend, in this case the primary trend is up, the secondary trend is down. Whenever that occurs, it is remarkably common that the market will pull all the way back down to 61.8, and that's exactly what just happened here. I believe now that we've seen this drop on Ethereum that the bottom, if it's not in, is very close. I've been saying for the last month or two that Ethereum needs to drop a little bit more because it hasn't corrected as far as Bitcoin has. Well, now it has. Bitcoin dropped about 40%. If we look at the market over here, it's down 42%. I can go ahead and show you that right here. The market is down 40 to 42%. Ethereum now is down roughly 40 to 42%. The other reason why that's significant, guys, when you look at bull markets in the history of Bitcoin, they traditionally drop 40%. If you need to pause and see any of the drops I'm looking at here in the time frames, I encourage you to go ahead and do that and then come back and catch up on the video. Whenever you're in a bull market, it is remarkably common for a market to drop 40%. You can see on the tooltips right here, negative 36%. That's close to 40. Right here on the tooltip, negative 42%. These are the drops that we saw in 2017's Bitcoin bull market, negative 43%. We see the same thing happen on Ethereum time and time again, where the market will drop 40%. That's what we've seen happen. Now Ethereum has dropped 40%. I believe now that we've seen this happen, that the bottom, if it's not in, is very close, not only on Bitcoin, but also on Ethereum. Bitcoin could drop down briefly on a candle wick to $37,000. Ethereum could very easily drop briefly down to $2,700 because there is also a level of support down here as constituted by our drop at the end of September. Could Ethereum drop down to $2,700? Could Bitcoin drop down to $37,000? Absolutely yes and amen. It could happen, and if it does, I'm going to be buying the dip. Tim, I want to ask your opinion. Do you agree with me that the bottom is very close and that, yeah, we could drop another 2 to 3, maybe 5%, but pretty much maybe 80, 90% of the correction that we're going to see is over? Would you agree with that sentiment?
You know, another thing, I want people to understand this was not Jebb calling this. This was not Tim or Kelly.
TA.
It was technical analysis.
Yes, indeed.
Remember how we said the reason why Ethereum is crashing now is because it didn't. Meaning, Ethereum should have gone down a lot sooner. Look at what Bitcoin did. Look at what Cardano did. Why didn't Ethereum have these harsh corrections the way ADA and Bitcoin did? It was because it was delayed. So all this is still according to the plan. What I found interesting looking at Fibonacci, Jebb, I don't know, because I can't watch everything you're doing as exactly you're doing it, but did you know, Jebb, maybe you didn't, maybe you did, that if you do Fibonacci extension from back when we hit all-time high back in 2018, January 2018, to the bottom, do you know what the range is that it gives us for Fibonacci extension if we were to hit the golden pocket or hit 1.618?
Are you talking about, I'm trying to figure out how you're drawing it. Are you talking about
the top of the market back in January of 18?
Okay.
The bottom that we hit there in December of 18.
December of 18. Yes, right? I have it up.
It puts us in the region right in the region of $7,000 to $8,000.
$7,000 to $8,000. On which extension, Mark?
I'll draw it again. I took the drawing down, but I will pull it back up for you.
4.236, 3.618.
It was on, so that is right at 1.618. And there's a window. So if we only went to 1.5, we'd be about 6,000. If we went to 1.618, we'd be at 8,200, right?
I do not see what you're seeing.
Wow, you don't at all?
Are you looking at January of 2018?
January 2018.
Uh-huh.
The bottom that we hit in December of 18.
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing 4.236 at $5,747. That's what I'm seeing.
4.236.
Yes, for Fibonacci extension.
Well, I'm going to look to YouTube to see what you're doing right now.
Okay, it's up on the screen.
Yeah, we've had this before where we had problems like this. I know me and Kelly were looking at things differently in this too. Well, I don't know why. I don't know why our charts are different, but what I'm going to keep going with just so people, they're going to have to track with me. If you do Fibonacci extension now from the top that we had back on the 11th of May of 2021 to the bottom that we had on let's say July 14th, somewhere in that region. Yeah, July 20th is fair, somewhere in that region. It also puts us up to the exact same level.
Yep.
The exact same 1.618. We are still like Ethereum is actually doing everything it's supposed to be doing right now to continue to rally. This is another correction before we go back up. But going back to the retracement we had, because we're talking about extension at the moment, the retracement we had that Ethereum is doing, it's actually starting to match and do what we wanted it to do. I remember looking at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, looking at a Bitcoin setting up closer, getting close to bullish RSI divergence, whereas Ethereum was nowhere close to it. What I'm loving now is that if you go look at Ethereum has set up nice bullish RSI divergence.
It most certainly has.
So whether the bottom is 3,000 clean or whether it goes all the way down to 27 again or what, we are setting up very, very nice bullish RSI divergence. So again, somewhere between 3,000 and 2,700 is my expectation for that reversal zone. And it's one of those things. If you want to wait and you think that we will go lower, go ahead and wait. That's and if you think it's going to lower than 27, wait. But at the end of the day, when you look back in time and you're like, did I make the purchase at 3,000 or 2,700? It's so inconsequential. It's such a small difference. It's not really going to matter. And unfortunately, I know a lot of people who do things like saying, oh, I think it's going to go all the way back down to 2,700. They say, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to purchase. And then it gets as low as 2,800 or 2,750, and they miss out by a fraction of a margin, and they never get entered into the trade they wanted to.
Remember, guys, the perfect is the enemy of good in cryptocurrency. It's very, very difficult to get a perfect buying opportunity. In fact, I would wager to say that you've probably never had a perfect buy. I've never had a perfect buy. I have never caught the bottom at exactly $2,947. Normally, if I'm buying, I may have caught it at 31 or 32 or 33. I remember when the major drop started in March of last year, Bitcoin dropped all the way down to, what was it, $3,900 or $2,700. I forget the exact number. It's in the 3,000s in March of last year. I remember buying at $4,500. I'm like, no, I missed the bottom. I could have gotten a better dip. Oh my gosh. And then Bitcoin 10x'd in the next 12 months, right? Don't get so caught up on the exact bottom. People take the advice of don't catch a falling knife a little bit too seriously, and then they get scared to catch a falling diamond, and they forget that there is a great opportunity there. So yeah, you don't want to catch a falling knife, but if you're planning on holding it for 5 years, who cares? Your hand will heal, you know what I mean? So just don't get too worried about it, in my opinion, if you're holding for the long term. Now, let's also look at this bullish RSI divergence, because Tim's absolutely right. I'm going to show you this, and then we're going to move on here. We're going to talk about Harmony One and VeChain. You guys are always asking about those. Great projects in their own right. This bullish RSI divergence on Ethereum cannot be ignored and is absolutely vital, because it is going to assist Ethereum in continuing to the upside over the next 6 months, and I do think it's going to be a very bullish thing for it indeed. But let's go ahead and look at Harmony now, because a lot of you guys are asking about it. One of the interesting things on Harmony, and I'll ask Tim here if he thinks this means it's a good buy or not a good buy. It's only down 30% from all-time high. ATH on Harmony 1, on Harmony, is sitting at 37 cents. We're sitting at 26 right now. And in my opinion, my view, there's an inverse head and shoulders pattern forming right here that you can make a strong argument.
What chart are you on?
I am on Harmony over Tether on Binance.
Binance, but are you on the 4 hour?
I am on the daily chart.
Daily chart.
You're on the daily chart. That gives you a price target of 50 cents. Okay. And I'm very interested to hear Tim's take on that. One, Tim, do you think you should wait and use the capital that we have on the side to get some coins that are on a better deal than Harmony, like a Polkadot that's down 60%, or like a Bitcoin or Ethereum that's down 40%, when one is only down 30%? Should we look for better deals? And two, do you think that inverse head and shoulders pattern will lead to a big rally?
There's a head and shoulders pattern, or inverse head and shoulders pattern, excuse me.
Yep, going back to November.
So let me put it this way. There's no guarantee. And so in the same way, the people freaking out about the head and shoulders pattern on Bitcoin, we have to tell them, hey, by the way, there are things that can make a head and shoulders pattern not play out. Because if the one that we have right now on Bitcoin plays out, we're going down to 20,000. There are things that will stop us from going to 20,000. So in the same breath, we do have to let people know, just because an inverse head and shoulders pattern is forming, there are things that can stop that head and shoulders pattern from playing out to what Jebb's talking about, going to 50 cents. But as far as what I'm looking at right now, man, I like the way it looks. It also, it's not clean. And, we talk about this all the time. Technical analysis is not about exact perfect lines, but zones. If you're talking about zones, it kind of has a flat top, but rising bottoms, which would make that a rising or ascending triangle.
Triangle, yeah.
Which is also bullish.
That's true.
When we look at the RSI, there's nothing there's nothing setting up bearish R side divergence, and there's nothing setting up necessarily massive bullish R side
I could
divergence.
see an argument for bearish R side divergence here, actually, with a peak on the 23rd of November and then just like 2 days ago. It's not
The peak of which one?
on daily chart November 25th or November 24th,
Okay.
23rd, and then most recent peaks, because there's like 5 of them. If you draw a downtrend line right there, then there's also an uptrend on the RSI.
Yeah, I mean,
on the tops.
the reason. So
It's
if
slight.
it is, well, here's what I would say is the slightness of that. Look at how what you're looking at those peaks. We do have a slight price retracement.
Yep.
I would say what you're looking at right there is actually playing out.
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
not massive, so consequently, it's not going to have a massive dip paired as well.
I agree.
I don't think that's going to be a big indicator. I almost think what we're looking at when you zoom out, I think Harmony 1 is in a bullish trend.
Oh,
Despite retracements, and there's nothing showing that bullish trend would stop. There's actually 2 things that would say it's going to keep going: inverse head and shoulders pattern, and if you're looking at zones, it looks like we're in a ascending trading channel. But again, there are things that can make it stop fundamentally. I do not know the fundamentals of one. I don't know what's breaking. Like things like MATIC. I know we talked about MATIC last week. The technicals look great, but they had a hack. So for example, that's the reason why potentially MATIC's ascending triangle is not going to play out bullish. So I don't know. Is anything popping on one fundamentally?
Yeah, well, I haven't looked too much into the fundamentals, but what I can tell you is that as far as where it's positioned on CoinMarketCap is, I really like coins that are in that 30 to 60 range because it means they've matured enough to reach $1 billion market capitalization, but it also means that they potentially have a lot more maturity to go because some of these cryptocurrencies can go to 30, 40, 50 billion dollars in crypto market capitalization. Harmony right now is only worth 3 billion. So what I can tell you is that the technicals look pretty solid. Fundamentals are pretty good. I'm not going to weigh in on them too much. I've looked into them a little bit, but I don't want to, speak on things that I'm not super well versed on. I try and speak mainly on things that I am very well versed on, but it's also, I like its position here on CoinMarketCap. But with that said, let's also take a look at VET. VeChain is a cryptocurrency that I can tell you a little bit about. It is the leading cryptocurrency in supply chain development and supply chain logistics, I should say, which is very much an industry and a sector that needs disruption. As we have seen over the last 2 years, supply chains have become remarkably complicated and therefore they become remarkably fragile. And so anything that brings about disruptive, innovative ways to reinvent supply chain economics is something that multinational corporations are going to be taking a very close look at. When you hear companies like Toyota, for example, which is a company that we model a lot of our own business practices after, saying we are allowing for non-visual components in our vehicles to have defects on them, that is a big deal. Like Toyota is the company in the world that if you think of a company that cares about quality and Toyota doesn't come to mind, then you don't know what Toyota's about. That company all about quality. That is, they are so particular on that, guys. If there's a part in the middle of the engine with a scratch on it, they will not use that part. Sometimes their suppliers have to throw out 3/4 of the parts that they make because they have minor little defects on them. Toyota is that particular about defects. And because of this supply chain stuff, they came out about 2 months ago and said, okay, we're going to allow any non-visual components that have cosmetic defects to be allowed to be put in our cars. They haven't allowed that in 4 decades. That's how big this supply chain issue has become. That's just one example that you may not have heard of. Obviously, you've heard of, Christmas presents not coming on time and it being difficult to get chips for different vehicles. There's all kinds of chip shortages going on. Supply chain logistics is in need of anything that will help make it more robust, and VeChain looks like a way that the market can use entrepreneurship in the cryptocurrency and the blockchain industry to do just that. As far as its price is concerned, though, it is currently retraced 75% from all-time high. You might hear that at first and saying, oh my gosh, that's disgusting. It's dying. It's a dead project. I actually look at that and I say, okay, hang on. Let's figure out what are the fundamentals doing. Don't have time to get into it. The fundamentals of VeChain, in my opinion, look very solid. So if we're down 75%, that means one of 2 things. 1, it's undervalued, or 2, that all-time high was much higher than it should have been and it was built on hype. In this case, I think it was a little bit of both. I think that VeChain rallied very quickly up to a quarter back in April this year based off of the altcoin market hype because VeChain's been around for a long time. It's got a lot of great fundamentals. It's been around since 2018. Now it has kind of washed out a lot of those weak hands. It's pulled back 75%. I personally think VeChain is a great buy right now, and I probably will be looking to scoop some up. With that said, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on into our discussion. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see some super chats.
Absolutely. So this is from David Uziel. It's kind of piggybacking on the whole thought that you just stated for so long, but which is a great thing. But he said, just started subscribing to you, Jebb. Big fans of you. Tim, go Hokies, and Kelly.
Go Hokies. God bless Hokies.
This is the thing that I was saying. Is this a good time to get into VeChain? So
yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, no, I think now's a
It's like that
pretty
magic trick where you answer the question and then you open you answer and then you open the question. Yeah, that's perfect.
Perfect, yeah. So Eric Liddell said, have you investigated the PulseX thing? You are influencers. We need you, Obi-Wan.
I have, and I'm not going to comment. I don't have anything against it.
Okay.
Let me put it that way. I don't have anything against it, but I'm not going to be investing in it. So I don't want to mince words here. I don't have anything against the project, but I'm not going to be investing in it personally.
Gotcha. Evan Krause said, as a law enforcement officer in Palm Beach County, just want to personally congratulate T-Shroom on his commitment to his country. We
Let's
are
go,
all very
T-Shroom.
proud of you.
Thank you very much,
we
T-Shroom.
are.
Shout out to all of our vets, and shout out to T-Shroom for going out there and getting trained up so that if we ever need him, he's there. Thank you very much, T-Shroom, and we're really looking forward to having you back, but we're also looking forward to you going out there and, helping to make sure the country's safe. We appreciate it, man.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like you were saying, what you were saying the other day, Jebb. Whereas I'm not going to be looking at my portfolio of any kind for 2 months. It's going to be really interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think I was telling T-Shroom about this just to let you guys in on a conversation T-Shroom and I had. This is really interesting. I was telling him, it's probably going to be very good for you that you can't look at your portfolio for 2 months, because when you come back and invariably the sky hasn't fallen and everything hasn't fallen apart, you're going to realize, oh, wait a minute, hodling does work. Like we already know hodling works. T-Shroom has been in markets for longer than I have. He's been in stock markets and everything. He gets that. But I was just saying that I think going an extended period of time not looking at your investment portfolio and then coming back and realizing, okay, maybe I'm down 20%, whatever, I think is a very healthy thing for your mindset, because it teaches your brain and it wires your brain to realize, okay, I don't have to look at this 17 million times a day. It's going to be okay. And I haven't had the luxury of doing that, because the longest I've taken off of crypto in the last nearly 5 years is 9 days. And that was when the channel got shut down in early 2020 for reasons that were stupid. The channel got shut down for a week, and I said, you know what? I haven't taken off for a while, so I am now going to be putting in 9 days not looking at crypto. It really helped my psyche. So if you guys haven't done that, I encourage you. Take a week, take 2 weeks off of crypto. Make sure you're all positioned well. Make sure you're not in any trades. Make sure you're not going to get liquidated or anything. But, maybe take a week or two off and just think, okay, I'm okay. It's all going to be good. Let's keep reading some of those. Looks like we have go to full screen so that I can pull this up real quick, Smay. But I think we have a pretty interesting breaking news story here. Legendary investor Bill Miller owns half of his net worth in Bitcoin. I can't say that I know who this is, but it says he's a billionaire and he has half of his net worth in Bitcoin. This is pretty interesting. Okay, I'm going to read this. Let's read some super chats and I'm going to read through this a little bit.
Absolutely. Just a little bit more. So Pranav Shavan, I'm not exactly sure which currency this is, but he just wanted to say, you are amazing, Jebb and team. Love you all. Thanks for everything. And then Sumit Weej also donated that same currency. And no comment, just wanting to donate for us.
Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate that.
And then Cody Kuhn, if you are panicking about Bitcoin and want to earn some yield in the meantime on your stablecoins, DFX Finance offers amazing rates and is the only true protocol optimized for foreign stables.
Interesting. So as far as this article is concerned, guys, legendary investor Bill Miller owns half of his net worth in Bitcoin. So essentially what we're looking at here, this is a guy that got his start in the traditional markets. His mutual fund has managed to outperform the benchmark S&P 500 index for 15 years. So he's in the mutual fund business in a row from 1991 to 2005. Looks like his net worth shrunk by 90% in the aftermath of the global financial crisis. And apart from Bitcoin, he holds close to 50% of his net worth in Amazon stock. So he's half and half in Bitcoin and Amazon. Super interesting. Really cool seeing very rich people get into Bitcoin and crypto, because, you can listen to what the media says, and the media is just outlet for the rich. I mean, Washington Post is owned by Amazon. Who is the CEO of Amazon? Well, it was Jeff Bezos. Obviously, Jeff Bezos still has a lot of influence over it. The media, oftentimes, at least mainstream media, is a mouthpiece for very powerful people. I'm much more interested not so much in what the media says. I'm much more interested in what the people that own the media are doing. So what are the people that own the media? What are they doing? They're buying Bitcoin. They're buying a lot of Bitcoin, by the way. And what they are doing with their billions of dollars speaks volumes about what we should be doing with our money as well, because they didn't get rich by accident. Very, 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 very rare for there to be a non-self-made billionaire. It's incredibly uncommon for someone to become a billionaire through inheritance. The Walton family, that's one example. Poor Walton family, the poorest of the Walton children is worth a cool $15 billion. What is he ever going to do? That poor guy. But for the most part, part, most billionaires got there from being entrepreneurs and through busting their tail for 20 or 30 years in business, and I commend them on that so long as they did it in the right way that was legal and ethical and everything. I want to see how they are using their money and what are they doing. Most of them are buying Bitcoin. Now, with that said, guys, we're going to read some more super chats, but really quickly, I do want to bring you a word from one of the softwares that we've been using since literally day one. In our very first video here on YouTube, we were using TradingView, and now we are proud affiliates of TradingView. So if you guys are not already using the paid premium version of TradingView, I highly encourage you to do so, and here's exactly why. If you want more than 3 indicators per chart, that's the premium version of TradingView. You can get up to 25 indicators per chart with the premium version of TradingView. You can also get 8 charts in one layout. So that means that there's all kinds of different presets and everything that you can set up. You got 400 server-side alerts. That basically means that you can set up price alerts and alerts that a MACD cross happened. All kinds of these alerts that you guys are always asking me about, like, Jebb, how do I get an alert if Bitcoin goes below 40K? How do I get an alert if a bearish MACD cross happens on the weekly chart? You can set up those alerts with TradingView Premium. You're also looking at unlimited saved chart layouts, so you can have tons and tons and tons of those. You're looking at the second-based interval, so if you're a scalp trader, you want to see a chart that is a shorter-term time frame than just a minute chart, you're going to get access to those seconds. You're also going to get alerts that don't expire. Oftentimes, alerts expire if you don't have TradingView Premium. You're also going to get 4 times as much data, which means you can look farther back on the charts. You might not know this, but there's a limit. It's 5,000 bars, 5,000 candlesticks. So that's 5,000 hours, 5,000 days, 5,001 minutes. With TradingView Premium, you can go back 20,000, so you get a lot more data. And you're also going to be getting access to invite-only indicators. So if you guys sign up for Lux Algo or you sign up for Market Cipher, both of those links are down below. If you sign up for those, you need a paid TradingView account to be able to use them. So if you're getting Lux Algo and you don't have TradingView, you need to get TradingView. The link's down below. You'll be helping to support our channel, and you'll be getting access to probably the most foundational software that you need to be able to do technical analysis. You guys know I stand by TradingView. I've been using it in literally every single video for the last, 4.5 years, however long the channel's been going. The first video on this channel, we've been using TradingView. There's probably a grand total of 20 videos on the channel that don't use TradingView, and that's because they're a fundamental episode like Why Bitcoin, or they're a joke video or something like that. So make sure you sign up for TradingView. The link is down below. Let's wrap up these super chats because we have so many of them. Thank you guys so very much.
So Gico Dejidi, when is it appropriate to use log versus linear scales when doing TA?
Good question. So on the shorter term time frames, they don't really have much of a difference. So if you're looking at the minute chart, hour chart, 4-hourly chart, a lot of times even the daily chart, they are not very different. They're normally looking very similar. As far as the long-term time frames, let me just show you the difference between log and linear, and this might help you a little bit. Now, if you guys want to learn more about log and linear in the cryptocurrency technical analysis, our academy where we teach you everything crypto, I talk about the differences, so I'll go into more detail there. I don't have time to go into a ton of detail here. But let me just go ahead and come down here. We're on TradingView, which you should sign up for. Links in the description. Come down here to the bottom right. There's this log channel, log button. Go ahead and toggle. It'll change the scaling factor. Notice how when you're not using log, this chart becomes much less useful. It's very hard to read because of the way that the price has moved so erratically over this time. Switching it to log changes the scale factor on the y-axis from linear, meaning that it's moving in increments of dollars, to exponential, meaning that or logarithmically, meaning it's moving in increases of percentage. So every percentage increase over here, in this case, is a difference of 140%, and then up here it's also 140% if you have the same metric, but over here on linear, the same size is the difference between $6,000 and $6,000, but they have different percentages. So it's the way you scale it. I personally find I make a home with one, and then I use the other one if I need to. I make my home on the log chart. That's what I use by default, but I do look at the linear chart sometimes. The only really thing that's going to change on linear and log charts are your trend lines. For example, here's a trend line on Bitcoin that connects these two highs. If we change it to linear, then this actually doesn't line up anymore. So your trend lines are going to change. I personally use log. I think it's what the most advanced traders and analysts use, and we want to know what people think so we can know how they're going to trade, because that's what technical analysis is. I make a home on log, and then I look at linear periodically. Good question. Good question.
One from Marilyn Dark. Bitcoin dominance is an issue, though it's ideal to hold some Bitcoin. Nevertheless, it needs to crash and burn for alt projects to prosper on its own. Catch 22.
I do not agree with that at all, respectfully. Thank you so much for the super chat. That may have sounded a little bit rude. What I mean by that is, I don't think Bitcoin needs to crash and burn for the altcoin projects to succeed. In fact, we have historical proof that that doesn't need to happen. There are plenty of times where Bitcoin has actually been growing in market dominance, and the altcoins have been doing very well. So the altcoins grow when Bitcoin grows. When Bitcoin is growing and doing very well, oftentimes that provides a safe haven for people that are in crypto so that they feel more comfortable to venture out into altcoin projects because they have a stable coin, stable space coin, not stable coin, one word, a stable coin, a coin that is stable, such as Bitcoin, to back up their portfolio. That's what I have. My portfolio is backed up, if you will, by Bitcoin, and then I feel more confident going into smaller cap altcoins, because if I lose my investment in altcoins, at least I have my Bitcoin.
Yeah, just, I mean, following that up, right now people look at almost every altcoin as a point of value, or, you know, there's going to become a point where we just are ultimately look at the technology, and would you say that the car industry needs to go down so that the phones go up? We would never say that.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Same thing. Bitcoin, there's room for Bitcoin and altcoins. When you see two altcoins who do the exact same thing, then you might make the argument, hey, it's going to be hard for both to go at the same time. They're going to kind of compete with each other. But Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example, that argument of will one of them kill each other, there might be seasons in history where Ethereum's higher than Bitcoin in market cap, because it just is, from a technical standpoint, that the tech is more needed at the time. But then there's going to be other points where Bitcoin takes back over because it's completely two different projects.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Sumit Weej also donated again. Thank you so much. Eric Taylor donated, God bless you all. Question, is it too late to dive into Luna? Where should you buy it?
No, it's definitely not too late to dive into Luna. In fact, I wouldn't mind seeing Luna drop a little bit more before diving into it. We actually talked about Luna earlier in the show, so if you want to see my in-detail thoughts on it, go back. But essentially what I said was that Luna is only down like 34%. Projects like, you know, VeChain are down 75%. Polkadot's down 60-something%. So those projects have a much bigger retracement to play with. I think Luna's a great project and one definitely to get into. I'm personally being a little hesitant of jumping in too deep, just because I think it does need to correct a little bit more, but it's a great project, and I think one that is definitely going to bring you returns.
Awesome. And 13U Finch Creek Freedom donated. Thank you so much. And then B Brown, DeFi Kingdoms is carrying 1. You should check it out.
Okay. Interesting.
For the last one of the greats, Jeffrey Fritz, but also known as Crypto Set Guy. He also says to look at Tim and say this out loud, but he's like, good morning, guys, for Miss Taylor to read. FLORIDASTATE. I changed my name from Jeffrey Fritz. So yes, I am an alumni of Florida, but I do love Florida State.
Yeah, you're wrong, Tay. I'm sorry. It's wrong to love Florida State. Anybody, drop a 1 in chat if you are crazy and love Florida State. I'm sorry. Their football program just kind of brings down the whole school for them. I don't know. I mean, Tim, what are your thoughts on your wife loving Florida State?
I have told her before, you cannot worship God and the devil. So
we have one more. This is one that Tim needs to read the last name. He says, I super chat to hear Tim try to pronounce my last name.
Inchkarunsi.
Karunksi.
That's a fun one.
That is a very interesting name.
Taylor, why don't you give it a try?
Yeah, Taylor.
I would just Ishkarunski.
It's the K comes with a Z, so it's Karunksi.
I believe it's Karunksi. Yeah. Guys, if you enjoyed today's show, smash that like button. We almost got 2,000 likes. Thank you so much for your continued support. Remember, the reason we bring you this content every day is because we want to help teach you not what to think. We want to give you perspective, but we want to teach you more importantly how to think, because it's very important that you're able to do your thinking for you. I don't know if my dad's watching, but one thing he always told me was, Jebb, never let somebody else do your thinking for you, because it's so important that you develop your own identity of who you are and how you process issues and how you think and how you overcome challenges. So we want to teach you how to do those things so that you can go beyond this channel. We don't want you to leave our community. We want you to be a part of our community forever, because we love having you here. But I also want to equip you with the tools and the mindsets and the skill sets and the analysis abilities to go and do this on your own, not so that you can come here and rely on us and then have to be, beholden to what we say, but so that you can come here as a peer who understands technical analysis, understands the concepts of becoming financially free and financially sovereign. Come here, see our opinion, say, oh, I agree with that because of X, Y, and Z, but I don't agree with this part. I want you to think critically, because that's what's going to bring you success and the wealth and the purpose-driven life that will lead to fulfillment that I want for you, because that's what I've tried to achieve for myself. And believe me, it has been worth every single penny and every single second and every single, drop of blood, sweat, and every single tear. I'm so very thankful for what God has done in my life and has pushed me in that direction, because it has led to the life that I've always dreamed of. And if you want that, if you want to be able to be financially free, it doesn't come from signing up for our 90-day webinar series. It doesn't come from, buying Dogecoin and getting a millionaire tomorrow. It doesn't come from, falling for an infomercial from the 90s, or, falling for, the the Wolf of Wall Street and some kind of penny stock scam. It comes from learning how to think, learning how to be an entrepreneur, learning how to do analysis, developing skill sets and mindsets. And if you do that, it's a formula, guys. And that's the final thing I'll tell you today. Becoming wealthy and successful is not a game of luck. Luck is important, and fate matters, and faith matters, but I firmly believe that becoming a millionaire in cryptocurrency is a formula that anyone can follow, that anyone can do, and anyone can achieve. And I firmly believe that if you put your mind to it, you have the ability to, and we want to help equip you to do so. So guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the post notification bell so you don't miss a beat, and also make sure to check out our episode 2 of Why Bitcoin. That's all going into a playlist. There's 4 more coming over the next 4 weeks. If anybody has ever asked you, why should I buy Bitcoin? We got the series just for you. Check that out on the channel. Any final thoughts before we wrap it out, guys?
That's good.
Guys, before we go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good